For centuries, the Tonto Basin in Arizona has been a melting pot of diverse cultures, from the early Hohokam to the enigmatic Salado. The rise and fall of the Salado culture, with their elaborate cliff dwellings and exquisite pottery, remains one of the most fascinating mysteries of the prehistoric Southwest. Tonto National Monument is a large intermountain basin rich in natural resources. This area boasts diverse microenvironments, providing a wide range of resources for the people who called it home. Evidence suggests that pre-ceramic groups were using these resources seasonally as early as 5000 BC, with permanent occupation beginning around AD 100 to 600. During this time, Western Pueblo and Mogollon peoples irrigated cotton and maize fields, thriving in the basin for about 500 years before abandoning the site around AD 600. The basin remained unoccupied for about 150 years until Hohokam colonists from the lower Gila and Salt River valleys moved in around AD 750. These colonists established villages along the Salt River terraces, practicing forced irrigation farming and using Hohokam pottery. They supplemented their agricultural lifestyle by gathering wild plants and hunting game, successfully inhabiting the basin for the next 300 years. By 1150 CE, the Salado culture emerged in the Tonto Basin, with distinctive characteristics identified by archaeologist Harold Gladwin. Possible origins include migrations from the Little Colorado River area, Tonto Basin or other Pueblo cultures, or a regional Hohokam variant. Despite uncertain origins, the Salado were well established by 1200 CE. The Salado people primarily lived in settlements along the river valleys, close to their agricultural fields. During this era, the Salt River Valley was a lush, marshy area, with water flowing through cattails, river reeds, and grasses for most of the year. The Salado dug irrigation canals to direct water to their fields of corn, beans, squash, and amaranth. Although they were skilled farmers, the Salado also supplemented their diets through hunting and gathering. A typical Salado community consisted of a multi-room masonry pueblo, often enclosed within high compound walls. These walls may have served a protective function or had some unknown social purpose. Salado sites ranged in size, with some pueblos containing over 150 rooms, while most had fewer than 20. As the Salado population grew, the valley centers became crowded, leading to a more diverse settlement strategy. While most of the population remained in the valley to focus on agriculture, around AD 1300, some Salado moved to higher elevations, possibly to concentrate on non-agricultural activities. During this time, the stunning cliff dwellings at Tonto National Monument were constructed. The expansion into higher elevations opened up new resource areas for the Salado. Archaeologists have discovered numerous small field houses in the monument area, indicating short-term farming in the uplands. It's possible that these Salado became skilled artisans or focused on hunting and gathering, trading their goods with the valley communities in exchange for resources not locally available. Skeletal remains reveal that the Salado were a surprisingly healthy people, with little evidence of the nutritional deficiencies often found in other prehistoric agricultural societies. Despite their stone-ground food containing a significant amount of grit, which wore down their teeth, the Salado had a much lower rate of dental decay than researchers expected. For approximately 300 years, the Salado prospered in the Tonto Basin, developing increasingly complex settlements, expanding trade routes, and exerting influence on regions to the north and south. They became known for their specialized crafts and grew increasingly dependent on centralized leadership. However, between AD 1400 and 1450, the Salado mysteriously left the Tonto Basin as part of a larger abandonment of the southern mountains of the southwest during this period. The Salado's departure from the Tonto Basin remains a mystery. While Apache raiders were initially suspected, recent evidence suggests otherwise. Climatic changes, salinization of croplands, internal strife, or a combination of factors may have contributed to their abandonment, but the true reasons remain unclear. There are various theories about where the Salado went after leaving the Tonto Basin. Some archaeologists propose that they may have moved north or west, eventually being absorbed by the Hopi or Zuni cultures. Others believe they might have headed south into northern Mexico or the lower Salt River Valley. However, no theory has been conclusively proven. Archaeologists believe the Salado culture emerged from a blend of migrant ancestral Puebloans, Mogollon people, and ancestral Sonoran desert people. Hohokam settlers from the Phoenix Basin mixed with local Tonto Basin populations around 700 CE, followed by ancestral Puebloan and Mogollon migrants seeking stable homes between 1100 and 1150 CE. The Tonto Basin became a true cultural hub, with several thousand people from these different cultures settling in the area. They formed villages with distinctive architecture, pottery, and textiles, blending their cultural traditions and ways of life. Although we don't know what these people called themselves, archaeologists began referring to them as the Salado, a term derived from the Spanish name for the salt river, Rio Salado. The Salado were not only resourceful but also creative, producing elaborate pottery and weaving exquisite textiles. However, life in the Tonto Basin became increasingly challenging between 1350 and 1450, as the climate grew more arid, characterized by a falling water table and a pattern of alternating floods and droughts. These environmental changes negatively impacted agriculture and led to a decrease in important plant and animal resources. As a result, people left their small villages and consolidated into larger communities. By the late 1300s, resource depletion had intensified, and populations began to decline. Catastrophic flooding damaged irrigation canals, rendering much of the farmland unusable. Faced with these hardships, the Salado started to leave the Tonto Basin around 1450 CE. Oral histories from several associated tribes suggest that this migration took their ancestors in many directions, ultimately guiding each group to the place their descendants now call home. Tonto National Monument, located 110 miles east of Phoenix, Arizona, preserves two significant Salado ruins, the upper and lower cliff dwellings, both dating back to around 1300 CE. The lower cliff dwelling is a pueblo consisting of 20 rooms, some of which were 2 stories tall, showcasing the Salado's architectural prowess. Constructed using local rocks, saguaro cactus ribs, and other materials, the pueblo's roofs served as spaces for food preparation and recreation. A parapet surrounding the roof's edge may have contained activities or acted as a defensive feature, while a single ladder provided access to the pueblo, which could be withdrawn to deter attackers. The upper cliff dwelling, situated within a larger cave, is even more impressive, with twice the number of rooms as the lower cliff dwelling and additional features like a cistern for collecting rainwater. The use of reeds instead of saguaro ribs in the ceiling of the newer rooms suggests that the Salado may have exhausted the local saguaro cactus population or that the community had outgrown the basin's resources. In addition to the main cliff dwellings, the Salado constructed other structures, including smaller single-room shelters that may have functioned as temporary residences and field houses for storing irrigation and crop-tending tools. Adolphe Bandelier conducted the first scientific study of the Salado ruins at Tonto National Monument in 1883. While his archaeological survey drew attention to the area's treasures, it also attracted relic hunters who looted some sites, damaging rooms in both the upper and lower cliff dwellings. At the end, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Archeo Trek for more videos like this.